Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
This is the D brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts.
And entertainment scene.
This is the D.
Brief.
Hi folks, Seth Ressler here, and Becky Scarcello and I are off this week, but we do have something for you. We didn't want to leave you completely empty-handed, so at the end of every interview, we ask for a series of rapid-fire recommendations from our guests. So we've compiled some of the best of them together for you again this week, starting with Chef Kate Williams, the woman behind Lady of the House, the James Beard-nominated restaurant right here in Detroit. Here are her recommendations. Here's how this works. We're going to ask you for a series of rapid-fire recommendations. Just tell us the first thing that comes into your mind.
Okay.
Starting with this.
Okay.
What is the thing about Detroit that you brag to your out-of-town friends about?
The Middle Eastern food. Yeah.
Where do you go when you want...
Oh my gosh. Al-Amir, Yemen Cafe, and Hamtramck. Those are my go-tos.
Nice.
And then there's one on DoorDash that I actually can't remember now, but they deliver, so that makes it me frequent it more. Yeah.
So you grew up in the area. What was your favorite Detroit spot as a kid?
Joe Louis. We're definitely a hockey family.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, going down to Red Wings games.
Nice. Is there a specialty food shop or two that everybody should know about?
That is a good question. I feel like Eastern Market, people don't know everything that you can get there. Still, like Rocky Peanut has a lot of things you don't know about. It's like technically our candy by the weight place that people don't know about.
Yeah, we start all of our tours of Eastern Market with Feet on the Street. We start at Rocky's for that reason. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, all this stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
and DeVries, yeah.
Yep. What's your, besides your own places, what's your favorite place for cocktails in the city?
Ooh, my favorite place for craft cocktails, or where do I go to have a drink the most?
Okay, do one of each.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Do one of each.
So our staff places are like McShane's and Nemo's, which are right down the street.
Yeah.
We get Nemo's burgers a lot. And then for craft cocktails, I really love... where do I go the most? I mean, Sugar House, definitely, which is on the street. And then I really just discovered Evening Bar, which is in the Shinola Hotel. It's brand new, and they have delicious cocktails.
I had some cocktails in the lobby of the Shinola Hotel, so I assume they're the same. Okay, they were very good.
I don't know. There's a lot of businesses
Evening
in there. I'm
Bar.
not sure.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it was really good.
If you could prepare a meal for any Detroiter, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh, my God. Oh, I need more time for this. Oh, my gosh. I want to say, I don't know why Aaliyah is on my mind because of all the LK. I want to say
Yeah, the
Aaliyah and
Arcana.
Aretha. Yeah.
Nice. What would you make them?
I don't know. A roast chicken, maybe? I don't know.
Salad.
You can
There,
email
that
us
is
the
so
tasting
much
menu.
pressure. What do you make for Aaliyah and Aretha? Oh, my God.
Yeah, you'd have to think about that one.
We got to ask this.
Yeah.
Favorite Faygo flavor?
I don't have one.
What?
I know.
That's okay.
Sorry. The red one, I guess, is the most popular.
Red Pop. No.
We can't tell James Beard this.
I know.
Right.
They'll rescind.
Pretend that
They'll
didn't
take
happen.
it back. They'll drive to our place and just take it off the wall. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
No.
You're not allowed to have this.
Oh, well, Kate Williams, executive chef and owner of Lady of the House, thank you so much for stopping by. Alex Trajano runs the storytelling event The Moth every month at the Marble Bar in Detroit. If you've never been to it, it's absolutely fantastic. You should go check it out. People get up on stage, they tell 5-minute stories that are true. They're real-life stories, and you are the judge. You get to vote for your favorite. We asked Alex for some rapid-fire recommendations, and here's what he gave us.
So ominous. I love watching the, face of our guest.
I've never said this before. I'm suddenly embarrassed now that we're playing that for a sound designer.
I know. It's so lame.
it was very effective. I'm very, very scared right now.
We're trying to set the mood.
If that were our
You did
intent, it would make sense.
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted me to be happy?
No, that's what everybody thinks.
yeah,
They're like,
that was my chipper
doing?
music.
No, I'm terrified.
Here's how this
good.
works. We're going to ask you for a series of rapid fire recommendations. Just tell us the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where's your favorite place in the Detroit area for cocktails?
Ooh, my favorite place in Detroit for cocktails. Right now, I'm liking Lost River.
Oh, the Tiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the east side.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice. What's your favorite place to see a concert in the city?
Ooh. I'm going to say my ears have loved the Fox Theater the most when I've seen.
Is that how you judge it? I mean, you listening for the acoustics? I mean, are
I
you?
do. Yeah, I get so upset. If it sounds crappy somewhere, I leave. I can't do it.
Oh,
I gotta.
totally.
It's
You
gotta
must
sound
have-
good.
Yeah, it's
So
just perfect.
What,
It's like
what rooms have the best acoustics
Yeah.
around the city?
You know, Otis Supply is really good.
yeah.
The guy, what you call Loving Touch, has a good setup going. It
we
sounds
just
great in
saw
there.
a band there the other day.
And
yeah.
the place that blew me away recently was Willis Show Bar.
Very
Really?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really small. It's like I played on that stage as a drummer recently.
Oh.
And you have to play really quiet and stuff, but the guy knows his room there really well. Let me tell you, so the other band was playing while I was like hanging out in the bar area. And I turned and said to my buddy, "What's the CD they're playing?" And I turned around and it was the band.
That's how good the sound was.
It was, yeah, it sounds
Was
amazing.
it the Heavy Petters, their house band that was playing?
I
Which I
don't know.
think is so hilarious.
No, but I love that name. No,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know who it was.
Who was
I
it?
forgot
Okay.
now.
Oh, that's good to know. You're like someone with the best taste buds, you know, that
Maybe
can
not. Right,
distinguish
maybe
all
not.
the
No, that's
types
just-
of, but
that's
your
just me.
ears are perfect.
But I'm always
yeah.
that person like, oh, it sounds weird. Oh, this restaurant's killing me with the
ruins
sound
it.
of the, you know.
Yeah. Restaurants are the worst.
Yeah.
If you could have lunch with any Detroiter, dead or alive,
Oh boy.
who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why? I don't know. The first thing that comes to my mind is Coleman Young. I don't know why. I was thinking that right now.
Provocative.
And I want to know what was going on at that time when he was in charge. I want his truth. I want the truth.
You might not be able to handle the truth.
I know. I know I won't be able to handle the truth.
What's your favorite Detroit neighborhood?
I like. I love Woodbridge.
Yeah. That's a good
I
one.
used to live there, and I loved it.
What did you like about it?
I liked the trees, and I liked the sense of community that was in there. Everybody was cool and
Looked out for each
kinda
other.
Looked out, it was nice.
Do you have a favorite outdoor festival?
Yes, and it's the jazz festival that happens in the fall.
Yeah, Labor Day weekend.
I don't know what it's called now. North American International Jazz Festival. That one.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
It's huge. Yeah. Awesome.
You know, normally we'll ask for a favorite song by a Detroit artist, but I want to ask, what do you think is the most sonically interesting song by a Detroit artist?
Sonically interesting song by a Detroit artist.
Something where you're just like, ooh, that's cool.
I'm gonna say P-Funk.
Oh, yeah.
One of those records has such a beautiful sound to me, and they always had weird, crazy instruments going on.
Yeah, a lot of funky sounds.
Yeah, but there's others. There's so many people. I can't think of them all right now. Frank Paul comes to mind. If you guys know that guy.
Yeah.
All right. There it is. You passed.
Yeah.
Thrillist.com named Josh Adams the best undiscovered stand-up comedian in Michigan, and I can vouch for him. This guy is absolutely hilarious. We had him on the podcast, and he offered up some rapid-fire recommendations.
I was scared.
All right. Here's what's about to happen. Let's start here. Michigan or Michigan State, and why?
Michigan, because I was a big fan of Charles Woodson growing up.
All right.
Played football, won the Heisman Trophy, first defensive player.
Yeah. That's
97, we won a national championship.
What's your favorite Detroit dive bar?
My favorite Detroit dive bar, well, it's not a dive bar, it's not in Detroit, but I just had to say Trixie's because I recorded my album there just recently.
I think that's a good.
Shout out to them over there.
That
Nice.
qualifies.
And when's that coming out again?
That's coming out sometime in March, and whether I do it with a label, but regardless, it's coming out. I'm going to do it independent if I got to.
All right, let us know. We'll share it out on social media.
Definitely.
If you could create your own line of Detroit t-shirts, what would the slogan be?
If I could create my own line of Detroit t-shirts, it would be Shinola ain't save us. We saved ourselves.
That was a great laugh, Seth. Wow.
a good choice.
Very topical. Who's your favorite Detroit musical artist?
My favorite Detroit musical artist would have to be, I will go at the top of here and say Aaliyah.
Nice.
Aaliyah is amazing.
What's one wish you have for the future of Detroit?
is that we get back to that level where we was at when we was the Paris of the West, I believe they called us.
Yeah.
Like, I think Chicago passed us up, but I think we're going to get right back up there till we're one of the best cities in the world, not just the country, but the world.
Nice. Now that you've been on the Debrief podcast, you are no longer the best undiscovered comedian in Michigan, because clearly everybody listens to this podcast knows who you are now. So who else behind you should everybody know is one of the best undiscovered comedians in the state?
Oh, who's some people that's super funny behind me? I'm going to do it like this. Mike Leary. I'm going to say Mike Leary. And, it's one more I want to say. It's Mike Leary. Mike Leary. Robert Jenkins is funny. Nardos. It's so many people. Heather J, Melody Hearns, Shawnee D. I could go on for a long time. There's a lot of funny comedians. They've been doing it before me, and they was doing some was after me. It's just a lot of funny comedians. You just keep up with them. Just keep your ears open and just go. They out here.
I might regret this, but what's your best local place to go for a bachelor party?
My best place to go for a bachelor party, I would have to say, if I was to go somewhere, what strip club I'm going to throw out there real fast? Let's just say Truth, because that's where everybody going, and they got $2 lamb chops.
And they are known for their food, I would assume.
Yeah. Strip clubs have the best food for some reason.
Yeah.
They do. They food be. I know people like, I ain't going to see nobody dance. I'm coming to get me some pasta, and they leave.
What's the last thing you went to Canada for?
Last thing I went to Canada for was to go do MLK Ski Weekend, and I performed up there at MLK Ski Weekend. They did a comedy show in the middle of the whole ski trip that they was doing there for MLK.
Nice. And you're going up there again?
I'm going there this weekend, the 1st and the 2nd, to the Hayden Comedy Club in Windsor. So if you in Canada, come holler at me. You can smoke weed over there, but you can't take your pistol with you. So you better be cool, because they got theirs over there.
That's good traveling advice right there. Dan Riley is the man behind Axel Brewing and the Livernois Tap Room in Ferndale. We had him on the podcast to talk about his beer, but we also asked him for some rapid-fire recommendations. All right, we're going to ask you for a series of rapid-fire recommendations. Just tell us the first thing that comes to your mind. Starting with this. There's a fantastic bike path that leads right to your tap room. If you were to go biking, where do you like to go biking?
From my house in Pleasant Ridge, down Livernois, cutting through Palmer Park, down Hamilton, into Boston Edison and Midtown, Belle Isle, around and back.
That's a nice route.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
a great route. Yeah. What's a Detroit activity that's next on your to-do list when you can get away from the tap room?
Detroit activity. Usually on Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings, my son and I will go down. We'll have bagels at Detroit Bagel. And then we either go to Easter Market and usually head out to Belle Isle because there's a play structure that he thinks is like a Ninja Warrior structure.
Oh, nice.
Or we'll put a bike in the car and we'll ride on the Dequinder Cut.
Very cool.
Nice. Where's your favorite place for a business lunch?
Business lunch. That's funny.
He doesn't do those anymore.
You know what?
You're still a little bit of a suit.
I do a lot of breakfasts. Late breakfast and Fly Trap in Ferndale is my jam. Or if I'm doing lunchtime, one of the two Emas.
Oh, yeah. Restaurant of the Year.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place to see a concert?
I love the Fox for something a little bigger, but I'm a St. Andrews Hall man.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
If you could create a beer tale named after any famous Detroiter, and I guess you could. So this is a real question. This is not a hypothetical.
I got that kind of power.
Yeah.
Who would it be and what would be in it?
Ooh. It's funny. We did a really big kind of chocolatey barley wine that we called Soul Miner. And it was kind of an homage to James Jamerson, the bass player in the Funk Brothers.
Oh, sure.
And because when we drank this, it reminded us of kind of that bass line from Papa Was Rolling Stone. So I would do something called the Jamerson, and we would maybe have a little coffee, maybe something aged in a whiskey barrel. But something that just reminded me of that bass line from either Bernadette
Funky.
or Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Nice. So you renovated a tool and die shop into the Livernois Tap Room. If you could pick another building renovation project of some gem in Detroit, what building would it be?
Ooh,
And what would you make?
Before we bought the building on Livernois, we looked at the John King No. 2 bookstore, which is on Cass over by Wayne State.
Yep.
And it's an old Firestone tire building. It's so awesome. But they're going to probably knock it down and make a parking lot.
Oh, darn. I don't like to hear that.
It's such a cool building. There's like a ramp that goes inside and kind of wraps around.
Oh,
It's
wow.
beautiful.
You're a marketing guy. Do you have a favorite marketing campaign by a Detroit local business over the years that you just think resonated?
Wow. That is a tricky one. You know what? It's going to sound kind of silly, but I loved and I'm not like a country music guy. I'm not a truck guy, but Chevy trucks like a rock work. When Campbell Ewald did it.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember, do you remember the dad and the daughter and the ski team and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
just the all the derivatives of that like rock campaign, mainly as a marketer and advertiser, because I think it just crushed the mark. I think it was beautiful.
I so thought he was going to say Dietrich first.
Dietrich Furs.
Yeah, he looks like a fur guy. Right. Yeah. What's the biggest misconception you think still exists about Detroit and Metro Detroit?
This won't be a popular answer, but I would say the misconception right now is that problems are solved, man. It's rocking. It's hip. It's chefs should move here. Artists should move here. It's cheap. It's awesome. We have massive infrastructure problems. We have an education system, on the verge of collapse. The neighborhood I grew up in, a 6 Mile and Evergreen, is one of the roughest neighborhoods in North America. We have so much work to do. We've barely scratched the surface. And so when I see, the feel-good BS pieces in Bon Appetit or Food and Wine or the New York Times, used to kind of be a little proud. Now I'm kind of annoyed.
Yeah.
Because the real work has to be done. There's a ton to do.
Dig underneath. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you put at the top of that list? I mean, especially being in Ferndale, I hear about things like regional transit, but also the
regional transit, the education system, continued infrastructure development. I think we are very fortunate, and we talked about this a little bit before the interview, to have, a huge presence from the Knight Foundation, from Kellogg and Kresge, and from Hudson Weber. And those foundations, have definitely fueled a lot of growth. My partner, Carolyn, has a charity called Brilliant Detroit, that they're building homes in neighborhoods to create early child development centers. There's just so much work.
All right. That's it for this week. Becky and I will be back next week. Until then, Detroit's moving. Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Hi, Craig Foley here. If you're listening to the Debrief podcast, well, I've got two things to say to you. One, you have impeccable taste. Two, you care about the community that is Metro Detroit. That's why I think you'd appreciate my daily show, The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit. Every weekday, I tackle the big issues in politics, business, arts and culture, sports. Whatever's on the mind of Detroiters and Michiganders, we will talk about it. It's all open for discussion. And keep this in mind. News doesn't have to be boring. Sure, we talk about serious stories and we have interviews and commentary, but we do it in a way that, if I'm doing my job right, is informative but also entertaining. Check out The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit for news, knowledge, hopefully some fun tossed in.